Hello and welcome back to the Collective Minds podcast. Tonight I'm gonna break down the news. I felt it necessary after all the crazy things we've been seeing the past couple weeks, I suppose, and felt like I should give it what I think is going on here. And maybe that'll help somebody be able to help me. Maybe we could give each other the answers here, but I don't think anything's changed. No matter what the news titles are saying, I think it's all kind of the same stuff. I think it's all leading to the same kind of actions. So more distractions, more chaotic. So yeah, let's talk about UFOs. So I'm sure everyone has been seeing the UFOs in the news, how allegedly the U.S. government is shooting down what they're calling UFOs, unidentified flying objects, after they shot down that space balloon. Very interesting stuff. It's really actually bothering me about how the government won't tell the people that it's not aliens. And they've been leading them on for so long with this, trying to make people look into the sky and start thinking the crazy stuff. The average Joe is looking around going, oh, the U.S. is shooting down something that could be an alien. That's all they're focused on. And it's interesting because they're not looking at anything else that's going on around them. When things like that happen with major titles, especially how this has been going on for almost a couple weeks now. Well, yeah, a couple weeks if you include the Chinese spy balloon. That was allegedly a Chinese spy balloon and possibly not ours, just like with these could also possibly be ours, wanting you to look up. And I believe the reason for that is because they don't want you to look down. Alright, so I got some summarized versions of two different articles I'm going to end up reading from the left point of view. Felt like breaking it down that way was pretty good for these topics. So let's see what they have to say about it. This one is from the New York Times. The U.S. military has shot down at least 3 unidentified flying objects over the weekend after a Chinese spy balloon that had invaded American airspace was downed on February 4th, setting off a diplomatic crisis. Now, it is unclear what the objects were, what their purpose was, or who sent them. Mysterious. On Tuesday, a spokesperson for the National Security Council said the objects might turn out to be harmless, commercial, or research efforts that pose no real threat to the United States, though White House officials have said they posed a very real threat to civilian air traffic. So I think that's what they're leading here with this, is the reason why they blew it up. Even in the end, if it's found out it is the United States equipment that they're actually shooting down, is that they could always use the excuse, oh, you would feel bad if commercial airlines hit it or private airlines hit it, because we always protect our civilians. See that backup plane coming from a mile away. So regardless, the United States and Canada have become hyper vigilant since the balloon incursion. The North American Aerospace Defense Command has adjusted its radar system to become more sensitive, sharply raising the number of objects it detects. It's another good backup plan. Oh, we didn't know these things were here because the American Aerospace Defense Command hadn't adjusted its radar systems to be this sensitive, which I think everyone could agree that anything floating through our airspace should be detected. We're a worldwide superpower. So here's a quick timeline of the events. First one, Chinese spy balloon is shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. The balloon entered Alaskan airspace on January 28th, Pentagon officials said, and later drifted from Idaho southeast to the Carolinas before it was shot down over the coast of South Carolina. Why did they wait so long? The balloon was about the size of 3 buses and was flying at an altitude of 60,000 to 65,000 feet. Let's go to number 2. First UFO. A UFO was shot down off Alaska. February 10th. A U.S. fighter jet brought down an unidentified object over the waters of Alaska. The object broke into pieces after being shot down and was most likely not a balloon. A Defense Department official said, and a White House official said that the object was the size of a small car. Here we go, February 11th, the second UFO. A UFO is shot down over Canada. An American F-22 fighter downed an object over the Yukon Territory, which borders Alaska. The object, which a Canadian official described as a cylindrical and smaller than the spy balloon, was picked up on radar late Friday as it passed over Alaska. Go to number 3. A UFO is shot down over Lake Huron. An object that first appeared over Montana on Saturday reappeared the next day before being shot down over Lake Huron, off Michigan. The object, which was flying at about 20,000 feet, had an octagonal structure with strings hanging off it, but had no discernible payload, the U.S. officials said. Typically, the government doesn't want us asking questions about what is in the sky. Why is that? They typically prefer us as the people to be looking at our toes or on our phones, listening and believing everything that they want us to. So what is the point of them telling us to look up? Because they do not want us to look down. Now, why is that? So here's the second article. I'm sure everyone has heard about this topic too, about a train derailment in northeastern Ohio. And we're going to cover that real quick. So this is CNN's original It's very important to do original pieces on these because the further you think you get more information, it actually gives them time to change it. So it's always a good standard to go back, if you weren't there in the beginning, to go back and look at the very first reports of these things. So, like I said, lefty news, let's go through it and break it down. CNN. Evacuation and shelter-in-place orders remain in effect in a northeastern Ohio town after a train derailment sparked a massive fire and concerns about air quality. It didn't spark a massive fire. That's the first lie right there. Cover up. The officials actually lit it up on fire before it exploded, which sounds good, but could have there been a different way to do this? Especially, I'm sure they're thinking about that now. But a Norfolk Southern train with more than 100 cars derailed in East Palestine, about 15 miles south of Youngstown, according to the National Transportation Safety Board. There were 20 cars with hazardous material on the train, 10 of which derailed. Of those 10, 5 were carrying vinyl chloride, the NTSB said Saturday night. We have not confirmed vinyl chloride has been released, other than from the pressure release devices, the agency added, which they then lit on fire. The NTSB board member, Michael Graham, said in a news conference earlier Saturday there was still an active fire scene and could not estimate when the flames would be put out. The cause of the derailment was not known Saturday. Investigators say the train had image and data recorders on board. It will take 4 to 6 weeks for the NTSB to have a preliminary report on the accident, Graham said. No injuries were reported. This is part of what they don't want you looking at on the ground. So more reports have came out. Lots of people, I'm sure some of you have seen that as well. TikTokers freaking out. It's literally having the lefties come out of the woodwork on TikTok, the blue-haired ones, just screaming about how the government's lying to them, how the mainstream media is lying to us. No one's covering this. It is hurting people. It is killing animals. It's in the water. There's floating fish in the water. It's affecting everyone. The government came out and said, oh, it's finally time to go back home. And people's eyes are burning, lungs are burning, people are getting sick. It's gonna hurt a lot of people. So it was first released that it was just one type of chemical that was being released, but the government actually won't release all of the chemicals that were just burned into the air that's floating around, killing animals, and probably gonna end up hurting people, a lot of people. And a lot of livestock, and people from whoever's in the way of that wind is probably going to get the rough edge of that one. And some people are saying that this is like the thing. This is what they don't want you to look at. It's one of them, for sure. And it could quite possibly have been done on purpose. Because on the 28th of January, when that Chinese spy balloon was first allegedly spotted, it wasn't until the 4th of January it was shot down, which was less than a day after the train derailed. Breaking news. And as this entire time, this catastrophe has been happening in Ohio, the news over and over again, continuously, just been UFOs being shot down, and I've taken all the headlines. I think this is probably one of the things they don't want you looking at. Also, the politicians being attacked, the major power outages popping up, the increased violence, war tensions between China, Russia, anyone else, our weakest military. The suicide rate's up, crime is up, overdoses are up. Civil war is considered very likely at this point by the professionals. The electrical grids keep being attacked. And, well, that border's still open. Everything around us is getting worse, and we're being attacked by it is what it seems. So look up into the sky. What do you see? Just keep looking up here while everything around you falls apart, burns to the ground. Let us know what you think. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. Make sure to follow us on Rumble.